everyone, welcome back to the kitchen. Today, in preparation for our freezer meal journey, I'm going to go over some of my favorite items to use when making freezer meals. These are the things you want to have in your pantry, in your stockpile, so that you always have it available when getting ready for a freezer banking day. I can't wait to show you how this all comes together. Today we're going to go ahead and I'm going to do kind of an overview of resources, things that I use when prepping freezer meals. I think this will be helpful for you. If you've never done a big freezer meal prep, really this is all about the stuff. Freezer meals can be made in any way, shape, or form. Do what makes your family happy. Make the things that your family eats. And when you're going to do that, don't just make one of them, make 3 of them, and then you'll have them in your freezer. So the basic place to start here is with a container. For casseroles or even like chili or spaghetti pie, stuff like that, definitely foil pans are the way to go. This is what I use all the time. I'm not a huge user of aluminum foil. These actually will all mostly come with lids, but if I have to use aluminum foil, I also use parchment paper as a barrier on the top. The foil pans are much heavier mill than, or they have they're thicker, more heavy duty foil. These are not going to break down and leach into your food as much as aluminum foil will, especially if you use a high acid casserole, like if you were using spaghetti sauce. Aluminum foil, definitely you want to put a barrier of parchment paper. But I use several different kinds of foil pans, a half steam table or 9x13. This is fairly deep, and this is my preference. This is what I use all the time. And you can get lids for these, which are fabulous. They just crimp on the top, and then you can write directly on it. So this is my go-to. I'm never without these. I also buy these round pans. These I often will use to share small meals. Also, see, these come with lids, but these are clear plastic lids. Often I will go ahead, again, parchment on top of whatever's in there, foil on top of whatever's in there, then crimp the plastic lid on, and then tape on the instructions or tuck the instructions inside in case they need to reheat it in the oven or what have you. I also like these sizes. This is a small loaf pan, and this is a larger loaf pan. This is perfect for like a lasagna, or really if you're going to make a meatloaf or Salisbury steak. Maybe you're just 2 people, you want to make a smaller portion. Maybe your freezer is a different size than mine and you want to conserve space. You want to definitely decide what size pans work best in your freezer, and then there are things that you're not going to want to use pans for. But oftentimes when I take a meal for, let's say someone in our church had a baby and you want to take a taco bar, like I took a chicken taco bar the other night to someone who had a baby. They love tacos, so you can use these aluminum foil pans. That one's a little scrunched, but if you want to take like salsa, guacamole, or you want to do cheese and lettuce and then tomato, 3 of these is not going to fit across, but then you have this extra space, or you can put them on either end and you can use the middle to fill something. Maybe you want to take a meatloaf. You'll be able to take a whole cooked meatloaf in one side, and then you can use this for mashed potatoes or gravy. You just decide. It's very easy if you have the tools available to kind of create your own little to-go container. Make it super easy for the recipient or for yourself. These smaller loaf pans make it super easy to make a separate compartment, so to speak, for like gravy or sauce or something else that you want to put in there that you don't want to be touching. That's the deal on the foil pans. I'm going to leave you links below to an Amazon list if you like to buy from Amazon. I'm also going to leave you a link to some of the pans I buy from Webstron store. Next up, plastic bags. Now I have a couple of options here. Obviously we have the old standby. We use these a lot, but when it comes to making freezer meals, these are great to a point. If you do it a little differently, you can get a longer shelf life out of them in your freezer. These are definitely a go-to. They're inexpensive, and you have to decide what brand you like best. I always buy the store brand. This is the Walmart brand, great value. They're very affordable, and I always have them on hand in the gallon size and the quart size. These are great for packaging up meal kits, doing like dump and go crock pot meals. You can either freeze these flat, but if you're gonna put these in your crock pot or your Instant Pot or your pressure cooker, freezing these flat, you're gonna have to thaw them in advance. If you build them in the bag and then freeze them in a shape that is gonna be like a solid shape that you can easily put in your Instant Pot, pressure cooker, or slow cooker, then you won't have to worry about thawing this out in advance. So plastic bags are great. These are the disposable freezer kind, but if you're going to be making a habit of making freezer meals, I do suggest that you invest in some of these reusable freezer bags. They are very thick plastic, and they're washable, they're reusable, and they're environmentally friendly. Obviously the same size as the throwaway kind, but these you're going to be able to use over and over again. You can see how thick they are. They're not rubber, but they're very thick, rubbery sort of plastic. They seal up really great. You can just wash these. Now you don't want to wash these in the dishwasher, you want to wash them by hand, and then you just put them over a coffee cup, or they actually make rack that you can just slip these over and air dry them, and you're good to go. I can get a set of 10 of these for about $25. You're not going to be throwing these away. So there is a money saving aspect here. It's just an investment process at the beginning. You can get these in gallon, quart, and sandwich size, and they're all made out of the same material. I'll put links down below. This is a nicety, not a necessity, but if you're, again, going to be making a practice of making freezer meals, these are super helpful, like top tip items that are inexpensive to source and purchase, and they don't take up a lot of room in your kitchen. And if you have a bin that you're going to designate just for freezer meal items, then you can just put that in your basement or in your garage, and then when you're ready to do freezer meals once a month or once every other month, then you can just pull it out and these will be there at the ready for you. So let me demonstrate. This is a plastic bag holder. It folds flat for storage, and it just pops right up, and you can pull these up just like that, and it's going to stand up straight and tall. Now, how many of you have tried to do freezer meals and fill a bag? That's what this is going to help you do. It's like a little extra set of hands, because us moms often need an extra set of hands, especially when we're doing stuff like this in the kitchen. This is going to help you hold the bag open so that you're going to be able to fill it with chili, pasta sauce, soup, casseroles like sweet and sour meatballs, or Salisbury steaks, or any kind of pre-freezer marinated chicken that you want to put together that you can just throw in the crock pot. This is an invaluable tool to help you get that job done. These are very inexpensive. I bought a set of 6 off of Amazon for $12. I think they're worth every penny, and you don't have to buy 6. You can buy 2, you can buy 1, but again, the more that you buy, if you're going to be making a bunch of freezer meals, why not just go ahead and buy 6, because I'm pretty sure you'll end up using them all anyway. Next up is prep for your foil pans. Let's say you made tuna casserole, you made chicken and stuffing bake, you made meatloaf with gravy, you made any number of your favorite things into a freezer meal, but now how are you going to deal with that? There are a few ways I deal with that. As mentioned before, when I talked about the foil pans, I buy parchment paper in boxes of 1,000. This fits a standard side half sheet pan, and I use this all the time in my kitchen. Our family reaches for this daily. We're gonna throw something in the oven. We always line our baking sheets with this. I line cake pans with it, and when I make a casserole, I fold the sheet in half. You can cut it in half and only use 1/2 of that. I lay it right on the top of whatever I'm putting in the casserole dish or pan, and then I use either a foil lid that comes with the pan, or I wrap it in foil. Now, if it's something sticky, like cheesy lasagna, if I don't have a foil lid, I will use the non-stick foil, the non-stick side down. I do not use a ton of foil in my house. In fact, I don't probably even buy a roll once a year, but when I do use it, I like this kind. I don't go with the store brand ever. I always use this particular brand. Again, not sponsored, just my personal preference. I always have the regular Reynolds wrap and the non-stick Reynolds wrap. If I have the occasion, I might purchase some heavy duty, but I just double this up and it's good to go, because that's really all you need. But this is going to help keep everything super fresh, keep it nice and airtight. And then again, if we go back to the plastic bag thing, I also like to purchase my freezer bags in a 2-gallon size. The 9x13 foil pan fits nicely inside of a 2-gallon Ziploc bag. And that helps you extend your freshness in the freezer even further, and it helps keep air out, it eliminates freezer burn, and it helps you keep your food fresher longer, so that you are making your money work for you and you're putting less cash in the trash. So that's my deal. If you are not a fan of aluminum foil, I totally get it, but you've got to use something to keep things fresh, and you've got to use something to wrap it up. The last thing I want to talk about is labeling. You don't ever want to put things in the freezer without writing on them, because you will forget. No matter how good you think you are, you will put that bag of chili in the freezer and you will say, I'll remember that that's chili. And then you will put spaghetti sauce in the freezer, and then you will put something else in the freezer that's the same color. You will not remember. I absolutely guarantee you will not remember.
Things look different when they're frozen.
Right. Further, if you put things in foil pans with foil lids, unless you write on the top of them, you have no hope of knowing what's in them unless you open them up. And you don't want to do that, because you're going to risk introducing air, and then you're going to lose your good seal, and you don't want to do that either. So let me demonstrate. Now, you have a couple of options here. First of all, you definitely need a Sharpie marker or some sort of permanent marker that will write on the plastic. You need to do this before you even entertain putting this anywhere near water, food, or anything. Because once you fill this bag up, there's no way you're going to be able to write on it, for one thing. And after it's frozen, this is going to create moisture here, and you're not going to be able to write on it either, because it will kind of repel the ink. So you want to do that first. So you want to write down what you put in the bag, okay? And then you want to put your date, 1/8/21, right? So maybe you want to put an instruction. There's not a lot of room here. So you want to put your dish, your date that you put it in the freezer, or the day that you made it, and then you reheat in crock pot on low 6 to 8 hours. That will work if that's the direction you want to go with it. There's not a lot of room to write there. If you're using the foil pans, I will write with the Sharpie marker directly on the lid of the foil pan, you know, what it is, and how to reheat it from frozen, and how to reheat it if you've set it out on the counter all day to thaw. This is the idea I like best. These are the 2x4 address labels that you can get. You can see how big that is. I'll just go ahead and put this on here. You can run this through your computer if you are knowing in advance, if you've planned your freezer cooking day, you know in advance of what you're going to make, then you can go through, decide how many dishes you're going to make, how many of each dish you're going to make, and then make a coordinating label for that dish. And then you can, you know, write it and print it out. But after you get that on your plastic bag or on your foil pan, however you're going to do it, take an extra step. Get you a roll of packing tape and cut a little piece of it, enough to cover that label. You might have to use 2. Make sure it's ever so slightly larger than the label itself. Press that really firmly over the label. This is going to make it so the label doesn't peel up due to condensation from the freezer, and then it gets lost in the freezer, and then we're back at square one. Oh my gosh, what is in this? It's freezer surprise for dinner, kids. I have no idea what I put in the oven. You know, about an hour into it, you're going to be able to smell what you put in there, and then everyone's going to go, oh, I really didn't like that one so much.
That could be fun.
I don't think that sounds fun at all. So this is my really top tip for labeling, is just to use the labels, print them out. Then it's nice and neat. Anyone who goes in your freezer will be able to tell what it is. Like, because I'm getting ready to go have surgery and I want to make sure the freezer meals are in order. Then Molly or Micah or Rick can just go to the freezer. What are we going to have for dinner tonight? They can pull it out. They'll be able to easily read what it is and easily have the instructions on how to prepare it, whether it's in the Instant Pot, in the crock pot, or in the oven. Well, there you have it. I know it's a lot, but of course, you don't have to go out and buy all of these at one time. You don't have to go out and buy all of these at all. You don't have to buy these. You can put your plastic bag inside of a large measuring cup or inside of a tall pitcher and then just fold the bag over and then just help you keep it stable. You can have another person help you hold the bag open. So it's, you know, necessity is the mother of invention here. And if you have another way that you like to do it, I think that's great. I think there's probably a lot of you out there who already do freezer meal and freezer banking. But this is just my overview in case this is a journey that you want to try taking, maybe in the new year, to try not to waste so much food. Let's face it, food is not cheap, and good food especially is not cheap. And if you want to make it yourself, sometimes we just come home in the afternoon and it's like, oh, I forgot to thaw out the meat. I don't have any idea what I want to make for dinner. I didn't have time to make a weekly menu plan. And it's just way too easy to order pizza or go to the drive-thru or what have you. So we want to avoid that. And we want to have the things we need at our fingertips. And you're going to find the things that you like the best. And these are the things that I like the best. I hope that you've learned something. I hope some of my tips and tricks are helpful. I can't wait to start sharing some great recipes with you. And so write it down, use the links down below, get ready, and until next time, I'll see ya.